Grace and peace, everybody. You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title, you know what we're about to do. Good to see you all, and happy Monday to each and every one of you. This is going to be a late live stream, and simply because I had not actually intended to do a live stream, but somebody asked me to do this, and I said, you know what? I got to give them what they asked for. I got to. Shout out to the person that already gave me a thumbs down on the video, and I hadn't even said anything. Shout out to that person. But if you do like this type of content, if you don't mind, can you please go ahead and like this video? Go ahead and leave me a comment and let me know down in the chat where you're from. I'd love to hear where you're from. Just checking my audio real quick. I think we're good. I think we're good to go. I like it. I like it. All right. So everybody, we got a good one tonight because first of all, let me just get real quick, make sure I've introduced myself. Of course, I'm Jason Dear Woke Christian, as you all know, of course, by the name. And I am a gentleman here that lives in Atlanta, Georgia, that likes to give social and political commentary from a Christian male perspective. And so that's what we're going to do on this evening. We're going to look at a pretty interesting story. So shout out, first of all, we know that most of you all already know about Nathan Wade and Fani Willis. And most of us probably have a good tertiary understanding of what actually happened, what are the shenanigans that actually happened. However, today, shout out to AV to the seventh power, she was doing a live stream today, and she pointed out something that I had not noticed, and I started digging down the rabbit hole, and I found a lot of good information. Nathan Wade was actually potentially, in the eyes of, the judiciary committee, already had him in their sights before the whole Fani Willis explosion. And I'll tell you exactly why I believe that. And we're going to look at a timeline as well. And I think that's actually it. So we all know, of course, when the whole situation happened with Fani Willis and all that. But when Ashley Merchant made her file her pleading that Fani and Nathan should be removed because they're having an extramarital affair. And we're all familiar with that. And we're all also familiar with the Scorpion Queen. And shout out to Aunt Andy Hastings, who's Joycelyn Wade's divorce attorney, who was in the process of filing at the exact same time. We know that story and we've heard it. However, we're going to look at a timeline that leads me to believe, and I think it's fair to surmise, that Jim Jordan was looking at Nathan Wade as being problematic and having some very sketchy accounting and wondering where this money's coming from and where this money's going before all of that even happened. So it's not even, I know we've said before, like, well, if Fani had not hired her boyfriend, none of this would have happened. Or if Fani wasn't having an extramarital relationship with a married man, none of this would have happened. It's very possible that still would have happened, because I think Nathan Wade was already under investigation, and we're going to look at that as well. I got a fun timeline to look at tonight to show you the timeline of shenanigans, if you will, that I think would really stand out to you all. But before we get too far afield, I want to thank everybody that's already liked the video. Shout out to good old supporter of the channel, Caustic Chameleon. Always good to see you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shar, for stopping by on this evening as well. I'm going to check real quick. Okay, cool. And I do want to say again that if you like this type of content, I really do appreciate you all not only liking the video, but sharing it, commenting, and of course, engaging in the best live chat on the planet. Now, I want to say this live chat constantly stays winning. And what I mean by that is, yesterday I did a live stream and my daughter, Chief Executive Second Born, dear daughter number 2, DD2, was running the board. And I said this earlier and I want to say it again. You all in the live chat were such a blessing to my daughter. She had such a good time. She enjoyed reading your comments and your questions were so encouraging. She said, and when we got done, she said, Dad, your live chat is kind of cool. Hey, so y'all got a 14-year-old that thinks you're cool. That's pretty cool. And she even said as far like, hey, when are you going to do this again, Dad? You want to do this on Tuesday? I said, we will see, baby. We will see. So I just want to give y'all a shout out. Thank you all so much for being encouraging to my child and just being a blessing. You guys are great. So shout out to you all, the live chat, as well as to the moderators. I appreciate all of y'all so very much. And Okay, we're just reading the comments. Sorry about that. And I really do appreciate it. If y'all don't mind, drop DD2 in the chat. So she's actually doing her homework right now. I don't know why she's still doing her homework this late at night. But drop DD2 in the chat. So when she stops by, I told her she could come by and check it out a little later, maybe when she gets done with her homework. But I'm looking forward to her seeing DD2 or Taylor plastered all in the chat so she can be encouraged. All right. And because you all have been so great, you know what we got to do.
3 of As the Peach Rots. In this engrossing third season, we marinate the fetor of Georgia's political elite in the tangy vinegar of accountability. In a state where the odor of mendacity lingers in the air, our intrepid team of chat room investigators is on a mission to peel back the layers of deceit and uncover the truth. From backroom deals to embezzlement scandals, no stone is left unturned in our pursuit of justice. But as tensions rise and alliances shift, who can be trusted in the Peach State? Join us for a season ripe with drama, where even the fruit isn't safe from corruption, because sometimes the juiciest scandals are right under your nose.
As the Peach Rots. Y'all know how we do it. Y'all know how we do it. So as I opened up in the beginning, I said that I really believe that it's very possible that Nathan Wade was already in the sights of Jim Jordan and the Judiciary Budgetary Committee that Jim heads up before even the whole Fani Willis debacle started. And I'm going to look real quick and I'm going to make my case. Let me know what y'all think about this. Thank y'all so much for shouting out Taylor. She's going to appreciate that. Thank y'all so much. Good to see you, Eric. Always good to see you, man. Thank you so much for stopping by. Cara is in the building. Thank you so much. And as well as Costa Chameleon. Always good to see you. And Shara, excellent. Thank you so much, all of y'all, for stopping by on this evening. Now, let's get after this. Why do I say that Jim Jordan was already looking at Nathan Wade before the whole Fani Willis story kicked off? Well, Jason, why do you say that? Let's find out why Jason says that. All right, here we have, and a matter of fact, all the articles and letters and the timelines are all down in the description already for this video. So you can go back and watch it, or go back and watch it. You can go back and look at it and see what I'm referring to. Okay, this is a pretty detailed, I would say a very detailed article outlining the timeline of the now, dare we say, infamous Fani Willis story, okay, of Nathan Wade and Fani Willis story. It's pretty detailed. It breaks it down very well. Now, we're not going to read through all of it, but I do want to jump down to something that we're all pretty familiar with, and that is what happened in January of this year. So right here, January 8th, 2024. So most of us know that's when I'll go as far to say that pretty much everybody in the world heard the name Fani Willis in a collective sense. Of course, we here in Georgia knew about her before. We knew that she was already pursuing a case against the former president. We knew that, all that kind of jazz like that, but it hadn't reached the pinnacle of being a part of everybody's lexicon until, I would go as far to say, until January 8th. I think that's fair to say. So let's real quick. January 8th, Joycelyn Wade, through her attorney, Andrea Hastings, shout out to the Scorpion Queen, attempts to serve Willis with a notice of deposition. The subpoena was presented to an employee in the office of Fulton County District Attorney. Now, on the same day, January 8th, 2024, an attorney for defendant Michael Roman files a motion seeking to disqualify the DA's office from the case because of alleged romantic relationship between Willis and Wade. And we know that's Ashley Merchant. The court filing states that because Wade paid for trips they took together, Willis benefited financially from the arrangement. Roman's lawyer, Ashley Merchant, shout out to Ashley, asked for Wade's divorce records to be unsealed and also wants the charges against her client dropped. The DA's office says they will reply to the court filing, but doesn't indicate when that will be. Okay, I really want us to focus in on this, and I want us to remember the date, January 8th. So that's the day that all of this kicked off. And we remember Ashley Merchant had a very detailed breakdown of all that kind of stuff that happened between Nathan Wade and Fani Willis, how they were making their plea that they were not qualified to be, that Nathan was not qualified, and that there had been a conflict of interest. The odor of mendacity was there, all that kind of stuff like that. I think it was pretty clear. Most of us understand it to have happened on January 8th. Okay. Now, the reason I keep stressing that out, and the reason I want to keep pointing that out is I don't know if anybody knew, but the Congress of the United States sent Nathan Wade a letter on May 9th. And most of you are probably going to say, well, Jason, May 9th was only just a few days ago. That's like a couple days ago. That's not really a big deal. And I would probably agree. However, did you know that they sent him something on January 12th as well? And the reason I bring that up is because January 12th is only 4 days after January 8th. So either A, Jim Jordan and his team, either A, all that information that Ashley Merchant had in her initial filing, she shot it up there like a hot rail up there to Jim Jordan, or Jim Jordan was already looking at Nathan Wade. Let me read this and let's go ahead and look at it. Again, it's kind of small, of course, but you can definitely follow along. And I did leave the links in the description. You're welcome to check them out. So, Mr. Wade, the Committee on the Judiciary continues to conduct oversight of politically motive prosecutions by state and local officials. Based on recent reports, we believe that you possess documents and information about the coordination of the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, AO, with the other politically motivated investigations and prosecutions and the potential misuse of federal funds. Accordingly, we ask for your cooperation with our oversight. Now, we know that at this moment, Jim Jordan is in communication with the whistleblower that worked in Fani Willis's office and is now working with Jim Jordan to relay this information. That's why I believe Nathan Wade was already in sights. It didn't take the Ashley Merchant revelation. It didn't take the Scorpion Queen revelation. It was the fact that the whistleblower had already been there and was giving that information. Let me show a little bit more as we read through this. On August 14th, 2023, with your assistance, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis indicted indicted a former president of the United States and current declared candidate for that office. According to the recent court filings, you have been paid more than $650,000 at the rate of $250 per hour. I think that I don't want to steal from her, but I loved how AV to the seventh power asked, how many of you all get paid $250 an hour? If you get paid $250 an hour, could you please put a money bag emoji in the chat? I know Kiana's right there. I know she probably clearing more than $250 an hour. But if you get a $250 an hour, could you please put a money bag emoji in the chat? But if you're somebody that doesn't get $250 an hour, could you please put any other kind of emoji? Any other? I'd love to see what kind of people we have here. I know that I'm gonna go over here real quick and I'm gonna put that big old money bag emoji in there for me, because dear Will Christian, as a small business owner, I'm pulling in the big bucks. And let me go ahead and put that in there right there. All right, put my emoji in there. Put your emoji in there. It's not, Kiana, I understand you're humble. I understand you're humble. You don't want people to know. Okay, no problem at all. All right. I don't see a lot of money bags in here. I'm a little bit disappointed, team. I'm a little bit disappointed. I think it's fair to say, without any equivocation, to be able to make $250 an hour is a pretty, that's an accomplishment. And most attorneys charge probably more than that. They earn that. They've gone to school 100,000 years. They deserve to be able to charge whatever it is they choose to charge, which is perfectly fine. The problem is Nathan Wade was getting this off of the taxpayer's dime. And we're going to dig into that a lot more because Jim Jordan's letter is pretty scathing to that effect. Let us go. Let's go. $250 an hour to serve as the attorney consultant and later special assistant district attorney in this unprecedented investigation and prosecution of former president and other former federal officials. This filing also alleges that while receiving a substantial amount of money from Fulton County, you spent extravagantly on lavish vacations with your boss, Miss Willis. So Jim Jordan has already got him in his eye, in the crosshairs. And again, This is only 4 days after Ashley Merchant's filing. Sure, he could have gotten some insight on this, but I believe that he was already investigating Nathan, and this was already sent to Nathan before Ashley had gone and filed. I'm sorry, he was already going to send it to Nathan. He was already looking at Nathan before Ashley filed her complaint. So it wasn't that Ashley Merchant kicked this off. Nathan Wade's behavior and the whistleblower actually did this. But let us continue. Although Miss Willis, and I thought this was great right here, although Miss Willis has so far refused to cooperate with our oversight into the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, coordination with other politically motivated prosecutions, invoices that you submitted for payment for the FD, I'm not going to keep saying that, Fulton County Board District Attorney, and made public as part of the court filings, highlight this collusion. It ain't just a mixture. It is a collusion, okay? All right. This new information appears to substantiate our concerns that Miss Willis is politicized. I mean, they are really giving her the business. Keep it moving. Politicized prosecution, including the decision to convene a special purpose grand jury, was aided by partisan Democrats in Washington, D.C., and he gives some examples. These examples are terrible. I'm sorry. They're not playing games with him. In April 2022, you billed $6,000 for 24 hours of work. And that work consisted of team meetings, a conference with the J6 research legal issues, to prep interviews for April 18th through 22. So we're supposed to believe that you worked for 24 hours straight. Now, I'm pretty sure, and we saw that ABC interview where he kind of tried to smooth that over and try to explain it away. But no, bro, you literally said that you worked 24 hours, my guy. And therein is the problem. Let's continue. On May 2022, you billed $2,000 for 8 hours of travel to Athens conference with the White House counsel on May 23rd, 2022. Now, I looked into this, and I think what happened is, and I think this is kind of sketchy, the January 6th commission that has been digging into the unsupervised tour of the state capitol in D.C., they came to Georgia and Nathan Wade met with them. I think, in my, again, minuscule law school understanding, I'm a pre-K law student, I don't think they wanted to come into the city of Atlanta and be seen in the city of Atlanta by happenstance, going to lunch or going into a building or anything of that nature. So the J6 committee went to Augusta. They went to Athens, which is just up the street around the corner a little piece from Atlanta. It's about 90 minutes. So almost 2-hour drive straight up to Athens, but it's a straight shot. I think rather than meet in the city, they met somewhere far enough away that the likelihood and the possibility of running into some snooping eyes would be minuscule. That's what I think happened. I can't prove it. I have no way of verifying it. Nathan, shout out to you if you want to holler at your boy. I'll gladly, have you on and we can talk about it. But I think what I believe happened is they wanted to meet up in Augusta. I keep saying Augusta. In Athens, and they didn't want it to be seen that they were in the city or in Atlanta proper. And so Nathan just went up there and he billed Fulton County for the travel up and back, which would make sense. If he traveled for 8 hours, so it's 2 hours up, 2 hours back, that's a 4-hour meeting. That would make sense. Let us go. In the same invoice, you billed another $2,000 for 8 hours of team meetings, conferences with the J6 and the SPGJ. I have no idea what that is. Witness prep for May 31st, 2020. So this is going over 2022. They're just going over his billing statements, his block billing, which as far as I can understand is not really common for attorneys to bill in these large swaths of time. Is more akin that they would have, if I understand it right, like 6 and 10 minute increments rather than 8 hours. It would be like 5 hours and 30 minutes or 6 hours and 10 minutes, something like that, rather than full on just 8 hours. It just doesn't seem right. And then even with that, it sounds like he's putting, and we'll see in a second, he put 8 hours, and then whatever he was doing was not really clearly broke down as well. So it does seem like there was some shenanigans going on with his billing, if you will. But we'll continue, because keep in mind, he's sleeping with the woman that signs off on his paycheck. That's got to be a problem. But it's just us. Keep it going. On September 2022, you billed for $6,000 for 24 hours again of witness interviews, conference calls to DC, team meetings, and from September 7th to 9th. So basically 3 days. You just said that you just did 24 hours. Like, what was it broken down to? You'll see in a moment. He doesn't break down his information very well at all. And I think that's part of the problem. And it seems to be a common occurrence in this office that they don't actually share their information clearly. They don't show the receipts, if you will, all that kind of stuff. And it just seems weird that they don't do that. But I continue. Let's go down here to the next paragraph. The Fulton County District Attorney's Office reportedly compensated you using a concoction of commingled funds. This right here, again, they were already looking at Nathan. Nathan was already in trouble. So it really didn't matter, the whole situation with him and Fani Willis having an extramarital affair. His shady bookkeeping and his money being commingled, we're going to look at in a second, was really the problem, I believe. And Jim Jordan already had his sights on him. He was already in the crosshairs. Let's keep it going. Let's go. Money's confiscated or seized by the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, and money's directed from Fulton County's general fund. And down here, they actually break it down into what it is and how that money was coming out and so on and so forth. It was pretty wild. But let's continue. The committee has information that the Fulton County District Attorney's Office received approximately $14.6 million. Just let that sit for a second. $14.6 million in tax, because that's taxpayers' money. That's your money that you paid in gas tax. Well, not gas tax. Your money that you paid in FICO. Your money that you paid in withholdings. Your money that you've paid to the government was given to Fani Willis's district attorney's office in the form of $14.6 million in a grant fund. I wish they would grant some of that money to me. But let's continue what the grant fund was for. Grant funds from the Department of Justice between 2020 and 2023. And given the enormous legal fees you have billed, they said they were enormous. Jim Jordan, I like Jim Jordan. He said there's enormous legal fees that you've been billed to the district attorney's office. There are open questions about whether federal funds were used by the district attorney to finance your prosecution. In fact, on one day, November 5th, 2021, you billed taxpayers for 24 hours of legal work, attesting that you worked all day and night without break on a politically motivated prosecution. Jim Jordan is not having any of Nathan's shenanigans, none of them. A recent news report corroborates your coordination with the partisan Democrats, explaining that you and the Fulton County District Attorney's Office staff quietly met with the partisan January 6th committee, which allowed, let's keep this going. Sorry about that. I didn't realize I had skipped a page. There we go. Which allowed you to review information that, they had granted. Politico reported that the partisan January 6th committee provided Ms. Willis's prosecution a boost as she prepared to convene a special grand jury and even helped prosecutors prepare for interviews with key witnesses. The same article suggests that the partisan January 6th committee provided you access to records it withheld from other law enforcement entities and even other members of Congress. So Nate Wade had access to information that even other Congress people did not have. Nate Wade had information and access to information that lawmakers in DC did not have. That's crazy. Now, this right here is his breakdown of his, excuse me, of his billing that they're pointing out some of the problems in. It's really hard to see. However, if you do want to check it out, you can definitely pull it out and check it out. The link is down in the description to this so you can see it more clearly, because I just couldn't make it larger without making it more blurry, and it was really hard to see. So I don't want to make light of it and just kind of, because it's hard to see. It just looks kind of crazy. But I think you all agree. You can see that right there if you want to check it out. The committee down at the bottom. The committee has serious concerns about the degree of improper coordination among politicized actors, including the Biden White House, to investigate and prosecute President Biden's chief political opponent. This new information released recently only reinforces the committee's concern about politically motivated prosecutions by state and local officials. To advance our oversight, we ask that you please produce the following documents and information for the period of November 1st, 2021. And you all know that as the day that Nathan Wade actually, go right here, jump back to our timeline. November 1st is the day that Nathan Wade actually took on the role of Fani Willis actually hired him that day. And that's also the day that he filed for divorce from his wife the next day. But let's see real quick. Willis hires Wade as special prosecutor in the investigation, while she reportedly offered the job to several other Georgia attorneys, including former Governor Roy Barnes and former federal prosecutor Gabe Banks. They declined due to the time the case would require and the politically incendiary nature of the case. Going on to November 2nd, Wade files for divorce against his wife, Joycelyn Wade, in Cobb County Superior Court. So he did that. That's all. So they want to know from the day that you got hired on with Team Fulton County all the way until the present day, which at this point was January 12th, 2024. So basically 3 years of work. They want to see, like, how were you, what was all going on? Well, I guess, yeah. So basically almost 3 years worth of work. Okay, and then they give here on the next page a breakdown of what they're actually looking for. And you can see pretty clearly they already knew what they wanted from Nate. They had Nate by the short hairs. They said they want all documents and communications in your possession between or among the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, including yourself and the U.S. Department of Justice and its components, including but not limited to Special Counsel Jack Smith, referring or relating to the Fulton County District Attorney's Office investigation of President Trump. All documents and communications in your possession between or among the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, including yourself and the Executive Office of the President, including but not limited to the White House Counsel's Office, referring or related to the Fulton County District Attorney's Office investigating President Trump. I'm not going to keep saying that again. All documents and communications in your possession between or among the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, including yourself and partisan J6 Select Committee, referring or relating to the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. All notes, memoranda documents, and other material in your possession referring or related to the meetings and conferences, phone calls, and other interactions with the U.S. Department of Justice, the Executive Office of the President, and a partisan J6 Select Committee. And then, of course, all invoices, including credit card statements and individualized reimbursement requests submitted by you or your law partners to the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. And we know what that's related to. And then lastly, all contracts and financial agreements between you and Fulton County District Attorney's Office relating to the special investigation. They're not playing any games with that man. They were not playing games. The only thing I want, though, this is what I want. I need Jim Jordan to go ahead and start slapping some real contempt on people. Because we already see Fani Willis has basically said she's not doing any of this. Oh, and by the way, he sent this letter, as you see right here at the top. He sent this letter to Nate Dogg. Sent that to Nate Dogg, right? Fani Willis replied back. We'll look at that in a second. So I think it's adorable that he sent this to Nate, but Fani was the one that replied back. But we don't want to get too far afield on that one. It's pretty wild. But let us continue. I just need Jim Jordan to go ahead and slap some contempt on people. I need some people to go to jail for this rather than continually threaten. Because again, now Fani, we know she has a level of contempt for the law. And I keep saying that she's lawless. She doesn't believe that the law applies to her. And I think that's pretty interesting and extremely telling. However, Nate doesn't have that same, and Fani has that because she knows her job as a constitutional employee. So she does understand that she has a little bit of leverage, and I think she uses that, bludgeoningly. Like she's going to behave like that. So moving on, Jim Jordan's approach to Nathan is different because Nathan is no longer in that office. He's just a normal attorney now. This is sent to his office, not to Fulton County District Attorney's office. He's just an average Joe now. And I really hope that they go ahead and start slapping some major contempt charges on people so that they can move this game forward. Let's finish this. There's a little bit down at the bottom. Notice this passive aggressiveness. Please provide this information as soon as possible, but not later than 10 a.m. on January 26, 2024. Pursuant to Rule X of the Rules of the House of Representatives, the committee has jurisdiction over criminal justice matters in the United States. If you have any questions about this request, please contact committee staff and gives that phone number. Thank you for your prompt attention to this matter. That is crazy. They're not playing with Nate. They're not playing with Nate. Nate getting them love letters from Jim Jordan, and he don't like those love letters. He does not like those love letters from Jim Jordan. All right, real quick. I got some people that showing up in the chat. What's going on? Discernment Files is in the building. Pookie is here. Pookie said that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much. I hope you're saying that I make a lot of sense. I appreciate it. Jennifer's in the house. Good to see you, Jennifer Smith. Always good to see you. Thank you. What else have we got here? All right. Discernment, as I said before, that guy is a shyster. I agree, man. The fact that he was getting away with that type of billing already, that alone is just problematic. Now, granted, it is even more problematic because I'm a Georgia resident and that's how our money is getting spent. But that's terrible. But again, hopefully it's coming up soon. His number's coming up soon because you're right here. Fulton County is corrupt to the max. Good to see you, Brianne. Good to see you, friend. Always good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. Shara's in the building. Thank you so much. And giving a shout out to Discernment Files as well. And I thought I saw, who else did I say I've not seen? Haven't shouted them out. Gotta make sure I give a shout out. There she is. Susie Q's in the building. Good to see you. I did not mean to say Jim Jones. I did mean to say Jim Jordan. And that's it. If Trump wins, it's going to be popcorn season. Look, I'm telling you right now. But again, like I keep telling people, hey, Biden is the most popular president in the history of ever. So all he has to do, it should be a shoo-in. Didn't he get 55 quadrillion votes? Literally. I think the sand on the sea was voting. Literally. It's a shoo-in. He's so popular, it should be no problem whatsoever. That's it. Just do it. Just beat him. Jim Jordan is an awesome investigative lawyer. He found out so much about Hunter and will probably bring out more about Nathan and Cash Money G. I agree with you, Pookie. I just need them to do something with it. I need to see some closure, if you will. And that's the only thing I would love. I would love to see some closure. I'd love to see some people brought to accountability. That would be great. That would actually show that he has some teeth. He has some chops, if you will. Good to see you, Cheerwine Guy. Rob is in the building. Thank you so very much. Do you think Fulton is going to give Cash more money? Probably so. Sad to say, but I do think so. If you're saying at the current moment, some of these committee meetings, though they don't have teeth as relates to calling them on the carpet, they do have the ability to make changes to how things are going. If you went back and watched the Bill Calsert committee meeting with the Fulton County Commission, those three people from the Fulton County Commission, I believe the overall tenor, the final takeaway from that meeting was that these people don't do any oversight. There is no oversight. You just give money to people and say, go forth and spend until you need some more. Like there's really no oversight. That's going to probably change. That is going to change. I'm pretty sure that will. Now, with that being the case, I think we will see some federal changes as well as relates to maybe various crimes that have international and, dare I say, global impact. They probably need to be brought under federal crimes rather than state crimes and such like that. So there are some changes, but I don't think monetarily right now today. So as of right at this moment, I think that Fani Willis will still get the money that she wants, whether it be, again, because the Fulton County Commission is not the ones to hold her accountable. Just making a point, just saying that. So that would be my pushback on that, or my answer to that. I'm from New York, and I'm scared of all big cities. Big cities are interesting for sure. I mean, I did not know how corrupt Atlanta was until this. This really showed me. I knew it had some shady dealings for sure, but this really showed me just how bad Atlanta is, and I didn't realize just how bad it was. So that was just something that picked up during this investigation. So I appreciate you. What's going on? Life of a servant. Always good. A servant's heart. I'm sorry, not life of a servant. A servant's heart. Good to see you. Thank you so much. And that mac and cheese is coming in late, but it's all good, brother. It is all good. Take care of the family, and we're going to be here. All right. So I wanted to point out initially that I believe Jim Jordan was already on Nathan's tail. He was already on his tail well before. So he wrote this letter soon after that whole January 8th explosion. Nathan got this email back January 12th. So this was hot on the off the press, if you will, so to speak. And he was already had things percolating and going in his life. And then, of course, February 15th was a disqualification hearing. So he's had a pretty rough couple of days. Now, mind you, again, he's got the whole situation with his divorce. He's got this situation going on. I'm sure there's other ramifications that we didn't even know about bubbling under the surface. And then, of course, he loses his job in March. So he had a lot of problems. Let's just say, I think it's fair to say, Nate has had a pretty bad quarter of the year. I don't think that going on ABC to do that interview, to flirt with Lindsay Davis, I don't think that was probably the best path to victory for Nathan. Most of us had kind of forgot what kind of person he was. Most of us had kind of, the crosshairs had kind of moved off of him because he had been laying low. So a lot of us had forgot about him. But then he pops up and he says some of the crazy stuff that he said, like office romances are as American as apple pie, and other crazy things like that really got people thinking like, I don't like you, my guy. And I think that's fair. But let me go back and let's finish up looking at these letters that Mr. Jim Jordan was writing. Because I don't think we realized that Nate has had some letters written to good old Jimmy J. All right. So this is I could have made that larger. I'm sorry about that. I just found that out. All right. So this is the letter, of course, we were just talking about a moment ago. And it's the one that was sent on January 12th. But we have one that was also, because Nate never replied. And what ended up happening was pull this one in, March 25th, instead of Nathan replying, Fani Willis replied. And there's another letter I could not seem to find. I believe it was somewhere in here. It was supposed to be on March 14th. So that's the one to Fani. And we've actually read this one before. I thought it was hilarious. But I'm going to read through it real quick. I'm going to speed run through it. But I just want you to hear just how indignant, defiant, non-compliant, if you will, Fani is to Jim Jordan. And I'll try not to strive to be too comical. Let us go. Mr. Jordan, I am in receipt of your letter dated March 14th, 2024. I categorically reject the assertion that this office is deficient in responding to the committee's subpoena dated February 2nd, 2024. Well, ma'am, if you haven't turned in something, then you haven't turned it in. It's really that easy. It's not more complex than that. If I haven't turned in my bingo money, then I haven't turned in the bingo money. It's really that easy. It's not more complex than that. It's not, we don't need any huffing and puffing. We don't need any Brahma bulling. We just need you to do what we told you to do, but we know it's Fani Willis. So we already know how this is going to get down. As you note in your letter, we have already provided you with substantial information about our programs that are funded via federal grants. And this is her response to the charge that the whistleblower is making, that they are not using the money that was intended for federal grants in the way that the government intended for them to use it, which I think is fair. And I keep saying, as a former classroom teacher, I can tell you that this woman doesn't have any records. Because if you had records, you would, especially given the amount of assault that she has been under, you would think it would be very, very easy to just have your records on file, to be ready and upload the files, to turn in the documents, to turn up the zip drive or whatever it is. Do they still use zip drives now? But it wouldn't be difficult. The reason that Fani Willis has not turned in her paperwork and she's making all this bravado about how dare you ask for it is because she doesn't have it. She would, if she had the receipts, she would have brought the receipts. She would have done it. And the same thing with Nate. If Nathan had been doing his work accordingly, he wouldn't be doing block billing. 8 hours of this and 6 hours of that. He wouldn't have been doing. He would have been doing exactly like he should, but he wasn't. And he hasn't. And that's why he hasn't turned in that paperwork. And we'll read that in the last letter from Jim Jordan that just came out yesterday. We know good and well that he hasn't done it. Otherwise, he would have just gone ahead and turned it in. Nobody would sit there and go through all of this if they actually had the paperwork. It's really that simple. It's extremely that easy. Let us continue. Let us go. Let's go. Further, as I expressed to you in my letter dated February 23rd, 2024, this office is in the process of producing relevant documents to you on a rolling basis and is undertaking a good faith effort to provide you with responsive information upon our federal grant fundings as part of an ongoing process. We are again today making a document production. When you receive a federal grant, and I've spoken to several people who are in different industries that receive grants and such like that. There's literally entire offices, not just a room, but usually 5, 6, maybe even 7 people that work specifically on collecting data and artifacts for this particular grant and uploading and making sure that it's available and it stays up to date. There's literally people who do that. Fani wants us to believe, and she wants us to surmise that they don't have that in her office, but rather they're just making it up as they go, or they're under stress and pressure to do it because they're busy doing something else. But if she's busy doing something else, and she can't afford to have somebody work specifically in that office, it probably is causing you to be a little bit curious because remember, Fani Willis is the one that's gotten several $1 million, and we talked about that during the Georgia State Senate hearing. She's got several $1 million to hire employees and hire attorneys to work specifically on cases so that those persons that need to work on grants, they could have been working on that, but she never did. So it must cause you to wonder, what did you do with that money? And why are you not hiring the attorneys that allow the grant department, the grant office, to do what they need to do so they can collect these artifacts and get it up to Washington, D.C. without any problem? As I said before, she hasn't done what she's supposed to be doing, in my opinion. Your primary complaint appears to be that we did not complete the production of your extensive document demands, including 5 categories of documents over a 4-year period in less than 2 months. But no, they don't want you to do it in less than 2 months, Fani. You should have been doing it all along. That's the problem. I'm telling you, they haven't done it. And the likelihood is if Jim Jordan really started turning the screws, you would never see any receipts. You would see receipts written on napkins. You'd see receipts written on greasy takeout bags, but you would never see a real receipt. Never. Let us keep it going. Let us go. That demand is unreasonable and uncustomary and would require this government office to divert resources from our primary purpose of prosecuting crime. But remember, Fani Willis was able to get rid of the 15,000, almost 18,000 case backlog in less than 2 years. These people are magic, Fani. This should be a walk in the park for them, Fani. Like, what is it? What is it going to take? I don't know, but a water break. What's it going to take? I'm just wondering. Just wondering. Let me be clear. While we are abiding by your subpoena in good faith and with due diligence, we will not divert resources that undermine our duty to the people of Fulton County to prosecute felonies committed in this jurisdiction. You also notice the locale of crimes. I'm starting to think Fani Willis knows that a local DA charging a president with a crime is a lap too far. And I've mentioned this before in a previous live stream that I think it's interesting that they keep mentioning the Fulton County people, crimes in Fulton County case, and so on and so forth. And it's kind of peculiar. Like, why do you keep bringing that up? Why do they keep saying that? I think they keep saying that because they know deep down inside they've overkicked their coverage. They know that at any moment, the federal government could and probably should be looking into this case because a federal election would have national consequences, not just Fulton County consequences. They would have national consequences. But they keep bringing that up, and I think that's very interesting that they do it. I believe it's because they know that they've overkicked their coverage. But let us continue. We will not shut down this office's efforts to prosecute crime, including gang activities, acts of violence, and public corruption, to meet the unreasonable demands, or rather unreasonable deadlines, in your politically motivated investigation of this office. How bombastic does she need to be? Really? You have to shut down your office to show us that you've been using the money in the right direction? Really? That's how you know Fani Willis has not been using the money in the right direction. I'm just saying, there's no other way around it. Because if she had been, all of this bravado, all of this big chest, all of this Brahma bull would not be going on, because she would just gone ahead and submitted it and kept it moving. But she doesn't, because she doesn't. Or she hasn't. Yeah, because she hasn't. I know I said that right. Citizens can determine the guilt and innocence of the defendant. Wait, what did I miss? I missed that entire section. Sweet Caroline. I'm sorry. I missed an entire section. Sorry about that. There's a little section down there. I'm sorry. As noted above, included with this correspondence are additional documents responsive to your subpoena, including documents that are responsive to the primary categories identified in your March 14th, 2024 letter. We will make another production in the coming weeks. However, let me again state this clearly. Nothing that you do will derail the efforts of my staff, and I will bring the election interference prosecution to trial so that the jury of Fulton County citizens, see, there it is again, Fulton County citizens can determine the guilt or innocence of the defendants. My family, my staff, and I have been threatened repeatedly by people making violent, often racist attacks. Neither those threats or anything your colleagues and you say or do will deter us from fulfilling our duty to bring this case to trial. That's a whole bunch of hot air, because we already know that case is garbage. It's not going to make it. It's not going to see the light of day. But, Fani, we appreciate it. The theatrical reading done by Mr. Whitaker was fun. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, Fani. But at the end of the day, we know that was just a bunch of hot air, and it meant nothing because it's not going to go anywhere. The case is finished. I'm sorry. I'm standing on that one. I used to say that a little bit. I was a little pensive about it, but now I feel extremely confident. His case is going nowhere. But you know what's going somewhere? The next love letter to Nate. Nate be getting them love letters, man. Oh, what's up? Okay, I don't think I made this a file yet. Sorry about that. Why is this not showing up? See, over here cracking jokes, Jason. That's what you get, man. All right, let's get y'all. Is this it right here? This should be it. And that is not it, Jason. All right. I got 3 of them. And I got to make sure I got the right one. I thought I made a slide out of it. Or a scene. Sorry, it's called scene in Ecamm. All right. Yeah, this is the last one. All right. So notice the tenor of the previous conversation with Nathan from Jim Jordan. They were kind of, like, we need our stuff, man. We need our paperwork, my guy. We need you to submit that paperwork. Let's see what you got. I think they made it pretty clear that they had him in short. They had him by the short hairs. But here, I think the conversation gets a little bit more spicy. And to me, I feel like it's a little kind of good cop, bad cop, so to speak. Notice also that they're sending this to Nathan's office. They're not sending this to the Fulton County DA. So now Nathan is no longer under Fani Willis's protection. He's no longer under Fani Willis's skirt, if you will, or hiding behind her apron. No funny hiding behind her apron or under her skirt jokes will be tolerated. Do not do that. You cannot make those kind of jokes, everybody. Do not put those in the chat at all. Don't do that. But let's look at what Jim Jordan actually said to Nate Dogg. So here we go. Let us go. Mr. Wade, the Committee on Judiciary continues to conduct oversight of politically motivated persecutions by state and local officials, as well as oversight in the Fulton County District Attorney's Office receipt of use of federal funds, grant funds. As part of our oversight, the committee sent you a letter on January 12th, 2024, and we just read that. And we already read that. All right, let's keep this. Where am I at? Sorry about that. Requesting 6 specific categories of documents relating to your former employment. Why they have to say former, man? Why they got to do my man like that? Why they got to do Nate like that? Why they got to do him like that and say former? Okay, here we go. I can make that bigger. Sorry. We ain't had to call that man out and say it was his former employee. Oh, man, come on, man. With the Fulton County District Attorney's Office on January 26th, the committee received an unsolicited letter from the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Fani T. Willis, responding on your behalf to the committee's letter. And they actually put a link down there to that. Ms. Willis's letter, however, refused to provide the committee with any responsive information and merely repeated arguments that the committee had already considered and dismissed at length. To date, you have failed to comply with or even respond to the committee's request. So yeah, your girlfriend called on your behalf, but we weren't listening to her. We weren't listening to your boo thing, your sneaky link. We're not listening to her. We want you to reply, Nate. We need to hear from Nate Dogg. That's what they're saying. Jim Jordan is not playing games with this man. We write to reiterate our request and ask again for your voluntary cooperation with our oversight. So I feel like they're playing good cop, bad cop, and it's going to become, you'll see in a moment. There are serious concerns about your role in the politically motivated prosecution initiated by Ms. Willis against President Donald Trump. You have repeatedly profited. Let's get over there. Sorry about that. Profited significantly from Ms. Willis's prosecution with unsealed court filings alleging that you have been paid almost $700,000, and they wrote it out, $700,000, from the Fulton County District Attorney's Office since May of 2022 alone. I don't think anybody in here, if you do, help a brother out. I don't think anybody here has made $700,000 since May of 2022. That's crazy. If you have, help your boy out, dearwokec@gmail.com. The committee understands that Ms. Willis's repeated compensation reportedly compensated you and finance her politically motivated prosecution using a mixture of taxpayer funds. Here it goes again. They mentioned this before in a previous letter, and now they're mentioning it again, possibly including part of the $14.6 million in federal grant funds that her office received from the Department of Justice between 2020 and 2023. While receiving taxpayer funds, you apparently coordinated with Democrats in Washington, D.C., quietly meeting with staff from the partisan January 6th committee, which allowed you to review information it had gathered. And you had 2 separate meetings with the Biden White House, including the President Biden's White House counsel. They're not playing games. They are not playing games. Look, there are games, and then they are not playing games. And they are not playing games. Pursuant to Rule X, I don't know what Rule X is of the rules of the House of Representatives. Sounds like something that would go on in a comic book. Rule X. Rule X. I don't know what Rule X is, but apparently it's bad business that Nathan is violating it. Let us continue. Let's keep going. The committee has jurisdiction over Justice Department programs and criminal justice matters in the United States. And this is why I think that they're making a case that what's going on in Fulton needs to be a federal case. But you'll see in a second. As we have repeatedly explained to Ms. Willis, the committee considering potential legislative reforms establishing clear guidelines outlining the permissible use of federal grant funds under all this kind of good jazz right there, creating penalties for the unlawfully misusing federal grant funds under Title 34 of the United States Code, constructing segment automatically audit requirements of the Department grant managers, or modifying eligibility requirements pertaining to grant recipients that misuse federal funds. Additionally, the committee has considered legislation broadening the existing statutory right of removal of certain criminal cases from the state court to federal court as a remedy against politicizing persecutions by popularly elected state or local prosecutors. The request material is necessary to advance our oversight and inform these legislative reforms. They are not playing with Nate. They're like, look, my guy, we're about to swap. We're going to hit you either with misuse of federal grant funds, and then we're going to turn around and take the case that y'all been sitting here big chesting about for almost 2 years. We're going to take that from you as well. We're going to take the whole thing, and then you're going to be sitting there looking crazy. You ain't got your wife, you ain't got your sneaky link, and you ain't got your job. My guy, please step aside, Nate. Step aside. Accordingly, we reiterate the request of the January 12th, 2024 letter enclosed for your convenience and ask that you produce this material as soon as possible, but no later than May 16th, 2024, which means that needs to be in here by, is that Thursday? That's Thursday, right? Yeah, that's Thursday. Yo, here in trouble. My guy, you are in unsolicited, you are in some deep waters, my guy. You are in some deep, deep kimchi. All right, let's keep this going. Further, the committee requires your testimony to discuss the subject matter of our related request. To facilitate this request, please contact the committee staff and get the phone number to schedule your appearance. Oh my gosh, for a transcribed interview with the committee. If you are represented by a private counsel, we ask that you forward this letter to your attorney and ask that he or she respond promptly to the committee on your behalf. And down at the bottom, we know who this is. Who wrote this? Who wrote this? Nobody but Jimmy J. Jimmy Jordan. Goodness. They're not playing with Nate. Nate, you might be playing, but they're not playing with you, Nate. They are not playing games with you. They expect you to respond to this in the right way, which is to get them what they need back to them as quickly as possible. But they also said, look, we want you to schedule a time to come on up here and talk with us. Go and get on this transcript. Now, I don't know if he's going to do that, but please keep in mind, Nate doesn't have the power of the district attorney's office now to shield him. So Fani, I noticed here that Fani wrote a letter in reply to him, and I don't know why I never grabbed that. Let me see real quick. So Fani wrote the reply to Jim Jordan initially, and on behalf of Nate. So his sneaky link wrote a reply on his behalf, which is crazy. But I know why. I didn't get it initially. Let's see here. Is this it? This is not it. Sorry about that. I know why I couldn't find it. That's why. And all the ones I was finding were, I found it. Okay, so I found their reply on February 2nd. All right, let's hold on to this one. I was looking in the wrong place, and I found it. Okay, so I found their reply on February 2nd, but I want to find Fani's reply to him on the January 12th letter. That's what I don't see. This one's the wrong one. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so I found Jim Jordan's reply to her, but I want to read her reply to Jim Jordan on behalf of her, what they call a paramour, on behalf of her paramour. Okay, I can't find that one. That's the one that's really interesting to me, the one that's relevant to our discussion right now. Did you know they wrote a letter to her on the 23rd? I'm sorry, on December 5th? Yeah, man. Jim Jordan was already on Fani Willis's butt. He was already on her. Yeah, they were already looking at her as well as Nate. I can't find Nathan's letter on Fani's reply to Nathan's letter. That's what I don't see. I'm sorry, y'all. I thought I had it, but I didn't. I have his letter on the 12th, but I don't see the reply that Fani sent. But that's wild, man. These people are crazy, man. Do you realize that you're out of line like this, Fani? Okay, so it's not super long, so let's just do it real quick. All right, so this is Jim Jordan's reply to Fani Willis. I just don't see. I don't like the way that looks at all. Un momento, por favor. Bring that back. We'll fix that in a second. All right, let's try that a different way. All right. All right. So here's her letter on February 2nd that they replied back to her because she was coming at them about her sneaky link. But I can't find the actual letter that she wrote in response. And I apologize. I thought I had all of my little ducks in a row, but clearly I did not. So I apologize about that, team. But let's go ahead and look at this and see what kind of shenanigans we got going on in this corrupt Fulton County. Fulton County, y'all are wild, man. Yeah, Fulton County is wild. But before we get too far, thank you so much to 72 of you all watching this. I appreciate it. Hopefully you're all enjoying this kind of conversation. If you don't mind, if you haven't already, could you hit the like button if you do like it? Even if you don't like it, just hit the like button like 3 times. It'll kind of sort of do the same thing. All right, let us keep going. Let's go. All right. So she wrote to Jim on response to Brother Man. So let's go. Dear Ms. Willis, on August 24th, 23, the Committee for the Judiciary, let me make this a little bit bigger on my side. That is crazy. Yeah, eCam is going to keep you real humble. If you're using eCam, just know that you're going to stay humble. It's going to keep you very humble and calling on the Lord. On August 24th, 2023, the Committee on Judiciary wrote to you requesting documents in the custody of the Fulton County District Attorney's Office relating in part to its receipt and use of federal grant funds issued by the U.S. Department of Justice, DOJ. Since that date, we have sent 2 additional letters on September 27th, 2023 and December 5th, 2023, reiterating our request. To date, you have failed to comply voluntarily with any of our requests. I just want them to go ahead and put Fani in contempt. Do it. Do it, Jim. Do it. Put her in contempt. Make it a big deal. If it's a big deal, make it a big deal. The committee's oversight of your office's use of federal grant funds is particularly relevant in light of the public whistleblower allegations that it has misused federal funding. And this is, like I said, they were already on her butt because they had that whistleblower come in to articulate what was going on. So they were already on their butt. So it wasn't because of Ashley Merchant. It wasn't because of the Scorpion Queen. It's because the whistleblower had already called them out and put them on blast. Let us keep going. According to the recent report, your office unlawfully planned to use part of the $488,000 in federal grant funds earmarked for the creation of the Center for Youth Empowerment and Gang Prevention to cover frivolous, unrelated expenses. DOJ awarded the grant to the Fulton County District Attorney's Office for the purpose, get y'all over there, for the purpose of creating, sorry about that, I did not get it all the way to the top, of creating the Fulton County Center for Youth Empowerment and Gang Prevention to work with the boys and girls of ages 12 to 17. The center, through funding by the federal grant, was intended to establish a community network in Fulton County to identify and address service gaps and barriers and create comprehensive systems for service for youth at risk of becoming gang involved or continuing in the gang lifestyle. Wow. All right. And then when you think about how much or how many times Fani Willis has said they've started this program, this, that, and the third, you got to start wondering, like, did you actually start this program before you said you started this program? Like, how long has this program been? So this is, I think, part of it. Let's keep going. I love it. All right, let's keep going. According to the recording about the whistleblowers' allegations, instead of using these federal grant funds for the intended purposes of helping at-risk youth, your office sought to use the grant funds to get MacBooks, swag, and use for travel. Moreover, the whistleblowers' direct supervisor stated that these planned expenditures were part of your vision. The whistleblower has stated that she warned you that the use of the federal grant funds in this manner was impossible because the terms of the grant were very, very specific. The whistleblower was in charge of vetting and selecting and securing the FDO, rather than Fulton County District Attorney's Office grant partnership, with the only contact with the Department of Justice had with the Fulton County Board of District Attorney's Office. Whew, tired of saying that. But notice there is somebody who's responsible for collecting data. So again, Fani Willis's big chest argument that they're going to have to remove people and shut down the office to secure this, that the whistleblower that was her job. That's what she was doing, was collecting that data and letting the DOJ know how it was being used. Fani Willis is full of hot air. I'm just saying. Less than 2 months after receiving this warning, you abruptly terminated the whistleblower and had her escorted out of her office by 7 armed investigators. These allegations raise serious concerns about whether you were appropriately supervising the expenditure of the federal grant funding allocated to your office and whether you took actions to conceal your office's unlawful use of federal funds. Jim Jordan is not playing with these people. These people want to keep playing patty cake. Jim Jordan is not playing with them. Please go ahead and put them under contempt, Jim. Put them under contempt. Do it. Do it. Do it. Just do it. Just do it. It'll make you feel better. Just go ahead and put her under contempt. Go ahead and call her out. Put somebody in jail. Get Nathan up there. Oh my gosh, to have Nathan having to testify, that'll be some must-see TV. I'm telling you right now. Our previous letter, let's keep going. Our previous letter, in particular, on September 27th letter, explained in detail the committee's constitutional authority and jurisdiction for our oversight. To summarize that explanation, the Supreme Court has recognized that Congress has the broad and indispensable power to conduct oversight, which encompasses inquiries into administrative and existing laws, studies of proposed laws, and surveys in our social, economic, political system for the purpose of enabling Congress to remedy them. Pursuant to the rules of the House of Representatives, the committee has jurisdiction to conduct oversight of matters concerning the DOJ, grant programs, and criminal justice to inform potential legislative reforms. Now, they didn't have Rule X in there, but I think I get what they're saying. It's like, look, man, this is our duties and responsibilities. Unlike you, Fani, we're going to do our duties and responsibilities. We're doing our job. Let us keep going. Let's get done. Our previous letters, particular, I just said that already because I did. Potential legislative reforms the committee may consider including among the proposed establishment of clear guidelines outlining the permissible use of federal grant funds. And they give a long code right there. Creating penalties for unlawful misusing of federal grants funds under Title 34 in the United States Code. Constructing stringent automatic audit requirements of the Department of Justice grant managers and modifying eligibility requirements pertaining to grant recipients. Let's keep going right here. Grant recipients. There we go. That misuse federal funds. The information we have requested requiring your office's use of federal grant funds is necessary to inform such potential legislation. In our prior letters, we requested several categories of materials relevant to our oversight. However, in response to your recent disclosed whistleblower allegations and as an accommodation, we are prioritizing the production of documents concerning your office's receipt and use of federal funds. Accordingly, please find attached subpoenas for the requested documents and information. And that's from good old Jimmy J. They're not playing with her. They're not playing with her. I need them to go ahead and I need people to go to jail or people to be held in contempt. That would be really good. I think that would show that they're not really playing. You've said these things, but you're really not playing with them. And you mean this business, Mr. Jordan. Go ahead and slap them with that and let them know that you really mean business, that you're not playing games.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
And let them know that. That would be great. But wow, that was a lot of stuff. So I just wanted to point that out. I thought it would be fun to look at. I thought it'd be a good activity to look at and see that, you know what, Jordan and them had been looking at Nathan and Fani's office well before the whole brouhaha of the disqualification. They were already being examined by Congress. But also keep in mind, they got possible ethics charges. They got also bar complaints. I'm sure now with the bar, from my understanding, we'll never know what the bar decides to do unless they disbar somebody. So if they sanction you, if they give you a slap on the wrist, if they give you a fine, we would never know. The normal everyday people would not know that unless there's some way for us to look into it, but it's not going to be reported. That being the case, they got possible disbarment. They got ethics charges. They got the Georgia State Senate that's looking at them. They might be calling them in to talk. There's a lot of stuff going on. They are not living their, they are not having their best life right now. This is not 2024. It's not their best year. That's for sure. And when you come down to it, that case is not going to go anywhere. Fani's case is not going to go anywhere. So after all the smoke clears, that case will go away. It's going to fade into the sunset. And Fani Willis is going to be looking really some kind of way. Now, granted, I do believe that she has enough support in Fulton County to possibly beat Christian Wise Smith. And then I don't know about the whole, I forgot the young lady's name. Her last name is Kramer, though. I don't know if she can beat her, but it's very possible because she's the incumbent. Usually incumbents have, they have the catbird seat in that regard. So we'll see what happens. This would be fun for sure. I'm looking up real quick, make sure I didn't miss anything. Good to see you. Good to see you. We watch YouTube. Thank you so much for stopping by. Okay. Robert's page is kind of difficult to follow, but I understand if he has them, I will look through there and also do a little bit more due diligence because I think I should have done a little bit more due diligence to make sure I found that, particularly that Fani letter that I was looking for. I could have done better than that. That was my fault. Water break. Fani's hole is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. This case is done. I agree, Tawanda. Thank you so much. I appreciate you stopping by tonight. Thanks. I don't know if I said his servant, but good to see you. Happy Monday to you as well. Always good to see y'all. Thank you so much. Did I miss anybody? I think I got everybody. Got all the good folk in the building. I appreciate it. Looks like we got about 85 of y'all watching. Thank you so very much. I hope you enjoy this type of commentary. Just going over a couple of things that are salient to the particular Georgia case. I live here in Georgia. My name's Jason. I live here in Atlanta, Georgia. And just a couple of things I thought were important that we would find some value in. So that's why I want to talk about them on this evening. Need to look at my notes real quick because I closed it out because of course reasons. There we go right there. Now, on a side note, this weekend, I plan to be going to Morehouse to graduation. And given the fact that so many other schools are having some kind of protest, if you will, I do think it might be a good idea for me to go. So this past weekend, I did go to Morehouse and do a tour of the Atlanta University Center. Thank you all so much for watching that live stream. I appreciate y'all engaging and such like that. Thank you to the moderators who helped keep everything in line, because you can't, when you're doing a live stream from your phone in real time, you're not able to manage the live like you usually do when you're sitting here in the studio and whatnot. So I appreciate the moderators. Thank you all so much. I thank y'all because apparently you all had a good time and enjoyed that conversation. So this Sunday at 8 o'clock is graduation, 8 o'clock in the morning. So I plan at this current moment to be going to graduation just to, since Biden is going to be there, lots of people have an opinion about it. So if something happens, you'll have somebody literally there and you'll probably see it in real time. Prayerfully, nothing will happen. It'll just be a big nothing burger. It will be outside. I was mistaken when I said that Morehouse will move graduation inside if it rains. They're not. It's going to be right outside. I forgot, like I said, I totally forgot when Obama came. It was almost a monsoon and everybody was right outside. It was soaking wet. So needless to say, we will still be doing that on Sunday. So that will be the live stream on Sunday. So hopefully you get a chance to check it out. And if not, it'll be available for you all to peep later on. Independent Mail will be coming with me as well. And I think a couple of others also might be joining us there just to check out and see what graduation's about. So that is that. And I do want to thank who did I just see? Did I just see? I did see it. There we go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, A Servant's Heart. I appreciate it. It's a shame how she's trying to use these false preachers to endorse her circus. Amen. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hold on one second. Rico. Yeah, and I do want to talk about that because let me see. On Monday, Nathan had the infamous interview with ABC News. Okay. And then the next day, Fani was endorsed by several leaders and church speakers outside of Big Bethel. She went to Big Bethel again. She needs to stay away from Big Bethel. Big Bethel should file a restraining order against Fani. But she was endorsed by them again. And I think it's just telling that these men will use her skin color and totally overlook some very glaring problems with Fani Willis. And again, not only her adultery, but the way that she handles Black men in jail. Please keep in mind, there's still countless men that are in Fulton County Jail that have not been indicted. If you support, again, Black people, Black leaders that you have right there, why are you not holding Fani Willis accountable that she has not indicted some of these men and they're in jail just rotting? There's people who have died in the Fulton County Jail unindicted. Did they die because they were in there? Would they have died if they weren't in there? Those are valid questions. Why are you standing by and supporting her rather than requiring that she does the right thing and get these men moving out of the system? And it's not just men. There's others as well. There's women as well. But why are you not? But you're standing by her, supporting her in her efforts to prosecute Trump, but not for her efforts of getting these men to see justice. I think that's very, very telling. So, no, I agree with you. A servant's heart. Thank you again for the super chat. It is a shame, but let's just be honest. Many of these preachers are false and phony and fake to start with. They don't teach God's word. They don't teach the whole counsel of God's word. They are literally just activists. And you know that because Jamal Bryant was there. Jamal Bryant has said multiple times he wanted to be a civil rights activist. So he's just an activist. That's all he's doing. He just didn't have the guts to leave the church. He just wants to be an activist. So the ACLU and the NAACP and Rainbow Push Coalition, one of y'all come get this guy. If you can't get him, Atlanta would be better because Atlanta must be stopped. But that's it. Thank you again for that super chat. And I did see a question right here. There we go. Thank you so much. DWC, are you going to live stream from graduation? Yes, I plan to live stream from graduation. And just like I did this past weekend, I have my phone charged up. I have multiple battery packs ready, and we're going to live stream graduation. Graduation is only going to be 4 hours, so it shouldn't be a big issue. But I think I definitely want you all to see the pageantry of the men coming in for graduation. So I definitely want to see the beginning portion of graduation. And then whatever's going to happen with Biden's lecture and whatnot. Prayerfully, there'll be no protest or whatever like that. If brothers don't want to accept Biden and whatnot, then they won't do that. But hopefully they won't do anything demonstrative to ruin the experience of graduation. And then we'll probably hang around to see the end of it, which is the singing of the school hymn, which is the final thing, and then them leaving out through the gate. So we'll probably be there the whole time. That's the plan at least. And I will keep you posted. I'm going to confirm that I'm going to go on Thursday, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to go. I already told my wife I'm going to probably go, especially if I can get to, if I can't get to the alumni picnic on Saturday. So that was it. All right. So Brandon Burks asked a question I think is good. And he's talking about Fani Willis. He says, was the person before her this corrupt? I'm surprised that what has been happening in Fulton County has been under the radar. If it weren't for her going after Trump, we'd never have known. That is true. Okay, I've heard mixed replies. I've heard people say that Paul Howard was a scallywag. I heard people saying that Paul Howard was a saint. What I do know for a fact, however, is Paul Howard was not this reckless. So whether Paul Howard was a terrible guy, as people have said he was, or whether he was a saint, I don't know. But what I do know is he wasn't this blessed reckless. He wasn't this reckless. And I think that's the problem. But again, Fani Willis's arrogance was what led her down this path, because she just knew she was the bee's knees. She knew she was going to bring this man to bring Trump to justice, to trial. She knew that. And I believe that that was part of what caused her to get this far afield, because she missed the fact and kind of forgot the fact that she was living a double life, if you will. She was doing exactly what she was saying Paul Howard did, to the T, like taking money from kids, check, that's her. Sleeping with somebody that's under you, check, that's you. I mean, literally, Fani Willis, I think she was projecting her own sin onto Paul Howard. That's my opinion. I don't know about Paul Howard. Again, people have said, I've heard conflicting things. And again, as most people have mentioned, we didn't know much about this because it was under the radar. That's my point. So I don't know if he was corrupt. So let's just say if he was, for laughs and giggles, Susie. So he was corrupt, but not so proud in his corruption. It's very possible. It's very possible. But Fani is extremely proud. She big proud of her own corruption and sin. And I think that's the problem that we're experiencing, or we're seeing, is because she's been her pride, her arrogance in her own sin and corruption is causing these problems for her, in my opinion. Yes, Paul Howard was corrupt and Fani worked for him. Paul was quite corrupt, but not this bad. Okay. A water break from our sponsor. I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't know much about. I knew who he was, but I just didn't know how bad he was. And like I said, Caustic Chameleon, I've just heard conflicting things, so I'm not trying to hang my hat on that. But I've heard that he wasn't a good guy. I've heard that he wasn't the worst guy. So there's a couple of things there, but I think we can all agree that whatever he was doing, he kept it a lot lower under the radar than the way that Lady Willis is doing, and therein is the problem. Yo. Okay. Did Paul Howard hire the person he was committing sexual sin with? She made a point of saying that she wouldn't be sleeping with people she hired. I don't know. That's a great question, person. I don't know. I don't know. But given the fact that, as far as I know, let's say that he did. Let's say that he did. I don't. Then he kept it a lot more secret than Fani did. She just seemed to be, but she quick to put somebody on blast. Notice that. She's the one that revealed, quote unquote, that Nathan's wife allegedly had an affair. She's the one that talked about Nathan's prostate cancer. She's the one, like, she's quick to throw people under the bus. So I'm not really surprised, but according to the Scorpion Queen, Joycelyn Wade never did have an affair with anybody. That's just a story that they concocted. So, you're going to have to take whoever you believe. That being the case, it's Fani Willis that seems to be the one that keeps putting people's information out there. So she's the one that threw Paul Howard under the bus. All right, now she hired Nathan Wade. There we go. Absolutely. Absolutely, Ellen. And therein is the problem. Yes, great info tonight. Always love your channel. So glad Inside the Law told us to check your channel out. Braves won. Oh, cool. Thank you. No, that's cool to hear. Thank you so much, Pookie. I appreciate you. Shout out to Phil Holloway from Inside the Law. We're going one day soon, hopefully. One day soon, we'll have a little DWC Inside the Law mashup and collab. That'd be great. And shout out to the Braves. Go Braves. All right, what we got here? Thank you so much. Brandenburg says, do you know how this is allowed? It seems like many would have to be keeping their eyes closed for this to happen. Judges and lawyers don't have the duty to report this. Don't have the duty to report this. Okay, now I will say, as it relates to Fani and Nathan, I understood it. People explained it to me. It was an open secret about their relationship. So that's why, but people don't want to come forward with it, but a lot of people knew about it. So just like Fani was talking about how nobody in the office knew about it, apparently they did. So it wasn't like nobody knew about it. They just don't want to talk about it. So, but they had enough information from Terrence, they had enough information from Yurti, they had enough information from cell phone data to kind of surmise that they were in fact having a relationship. But that's just my little 2 cents what I picked up. Yeah, see, and Susie Q's correct. I will not emasculate a black man as she emasculates a black man. I mean, that's Fani. That's her. That's the flavor du jour for Fani T. Willis to do that type of stuff and to conduct herself in that kind of way. Absolutely. Give him a shout out to Pookie. Thank you so much for that. We watch YouTube. Who would believe the home wrecking adulterer? LOL. I will take Nate's X word over Fani Pax any day. Let me tell you right now, Joycelyn Wade, granted, I know she's having some major health issues. I know she has a lot on her plate, but I'm going to tell you right now, a Joycelyn Wade interview would be bananas. I'm telling you right now, that would probably be the next Cat Williams interview. If somebody sat down with her and interviewed her, that Joycelyn Wade interview would probably be crazy. I'll even go as far as to say the whistleblower. The whistleblower interviews. I know that she's had interviews since, but I think those are going to become key as this Jim Jordan story starts to gets a few more legs under it, gets a little bit more speed in it, if you will. Those kind of conversations are going to be big as well. Has there ever been a protest of graduation there? You're talking about at Morehouse. Okay, there has been individuals who, there's a gentleman who received a Rhodes Scholarship who gave his Rhodes Scholarship acceptance speech and then denied he wanted it and rejected the actual awarding of that. There's been, we're not far removed from high school. Okay, so think about like high school shenanigans when people walk across the stage. So, I mean, there's been those type of things, but not like a bona fide protest. Not like the waving of another country's flag or burning an American flag, assaulting a commencement speaker. Nothing like that. Nothing like that at Morehouse that I've seen. But that's why I'm like, I wouldn't mind being there on Sunday, next Sunday, because if something does go a different way, I think it would be good to be there as an alumni, as one who desires to see Morehouse thrive and prosper and return onto a path that produces godly Christian men. I think it would be good to actually see what transpires, because the news will be there saying whatever they're going to say, and other people will be there to say whatever they're going to say. So I would want to be there. So we'll see. But to answer your question, no, there's not been a bona fide protest at graduation that I know of. Shara says that Fani and Nathan were working so hard they had to go on vacation together every month. And please keep in mind, most of the vacations that y'all know of, those are the larger vacations. Remember, Ashley Merchant said there were things like day trips and such like that she wasn't able to confirm who went. I'm sorry. Fani Willis said that they took day trips, and Nathan Wade confirmed that they had taken day trips. So there's other mini vacations or day trips and such like that. So yeah, man, sure, we know about the trip to Napa and California and to Texas and of course the cruises, but there were other trips as well. So man, those people, man, they were wild. I bet Joycelyn could make enough money selling her story to pay all of her medical bills. I think the goodwill alone, she could write a pamphlet. She could write a 3-page pamphlet, and I bet you would still get and I bet you it would become a New York Times bestseller. Absolutely, absolutely. The goodwill alone would cause people to want to support her. Just the fact that this guy is the low down, dirty, rotten, good for nothing, and he's leaving his woman to fend for herself. I think if she just started a GoFundMe, I believe if she just literally started a GoFundMe, enough people would want to jump in to help her. That it would probably, to answer your question, We Watch YouTube would probably resolve a lot of her burden. Absolutely. During the Vietnam War, there were protests there. I don't think they were during graduation, though. And I could be wrong. I will look. But I know there were protests during at school. Absolutely. There were protests during other seasons as well. But I'm thinking particularly specifically about graduation at Morehouse. Now, I'll double check. But I'll make sure to have that as well on Sunday. Be ready to talk about that. He did say that. You did hear that. You did hear that, his servant. He did say that he fell in love. Absolutely. Like that's some nasty work right there. That's grimy. That's so grimy. And I'm with you, Vicky Camacho. I love it. I'm back. Where'd you go? Well, we're glad to have you nonetheless. I'm back. I hope Joycelyn gets all she deserves and true happiness. Amen. Just a resolution to this, I think, would be great. That's good to hear, Brandon Burke says. I feel that the inmates and their families and have been negatively impacted. Sitting people in jail for years, at least he wasn't doing that, and they can end this way of operations. Absolutely. And you're talking about Paul Howard, the former DA of Fulton County. Sorry about that. Person said, I know people in their 30s and 50s who act like they're in high school. Aging does not necessarily mean maturing. Amen. DEI is getting on my nerve. That's why we have Fani and a lady in Dalton. I will give you that. The story in Dalton, man, that is such a great one. Thank you, A Servant's Heart, because they really did think that, I don't know how they got finessed. I need to do a better job of understanding the timeline of how Tiffany Henyard moved into position to become a trustee. And then eventually I understand she went from a trustee to a mayor. I got that part. But how did she become a trustee when she had a police record? And she really did not seem like somebody that was concerned about. She understood a lot of the practices of being a trustee, but she just does not come across like she cares and is concerned about the people of Dalton. It just does not come across like that at all. So I think we can definitely look at that. And it's not a pound for pound, but there's definitely some overlap in some ways in which we can dig into that. So thank you. Good question, or good comment rather. All right. What is going on? Thank you so much, Roseanne. Thank you so much for shouting out Taylor. I know she got done with her homework, so she was sitting at the table. I don't know if she ever jumped on or not. I'll text her in a second. The Super Mayor is something else, y'all. That Super Mayor is such a great story. And I mean great in the form of just a wild story. But this is something I do want y'all, if you have been keeping up with the Dalton, Illinois story, I do want you to temper your expectations. I know that sounds crazy. Temper your expectations, because there are a lot of people that do support Tiffany Henyard. You don't see them. And I actually watched an interview with somebody who went to the most recent board meeting, the one that was last Monday. And he mentioned, there are a lot of Tiffany supporters that y'all don't see. There are a lot of them. So even though there's probably the vast majority of people don't support Tiffany Henyard, there is still a lot of them that do support her. So just, get your expectations kind of in line, get them together, and don't get too excited just yet. You know what I'm saying? Don't be rolling around with the got him! And save the, just so you don't get, don't get your heart broken, because it is very possible. Not saying it's guaranteed, but just saying it's very possible. Oh, I got some new sound effects. Hold on one second. Shout out to my boy Roy, who I went to school with. He's a musician. I said, Roy, I want some organ sounds. So he sent me a couple of them. That's so wild. Those sound great. Okay, one more. All right, every now and then I might need to pull that out of. I might need to pull those out of the mothball. All right, just every now and then, not all the time. When I don't like them all the time, but every now and then, just might roll up on y'all. Okay, what else I got? All right, let's see. Oh, you like the sound effects? Okay, appreciate you. Thank you. All right, Cecil Rhodes was a repugnant man. I could see that. That was a good idea. I think. Are you talking about the Rhodes Scholarship I'm referred to? I don't know exactly, but I was thinking about that. Yes, I said, Roy, can you give me some sound effects? So he hooked me up with those, and I think they come in handy. I like them. Let me go back real quick. All right, where are they? The problem is they're on another page on my Stream Deck, so I might have to. Is Brandon? Brandon, are you in the UK? I don't think so. I think Brandon stateside. I think. You like that Kojic sound? Yeah, Roy is Church of God in Christ. I appreciate you for answering. It's never happened. I would just hope that it wouldn't. But if it ever happened, but that many were moved over this, you're going to be witnessing history. And the sad thing is I'll be witnessing something that I would regret history wise. But I am of the mindset that the Lord can use anything as he sees fit. So if he decides to restore Morehouse into a place where it is producing good quality education and good quality strong men that are for their families and for their country and most importantly for the Lord, then so be it. And if this is going to be the impetus that he uses to do that, then so be it. But I just would hate to see protests for another country. And I even, if you watch the live stream, I even talked to a man about that, a gentleman from Clark, Atlanta, and we kind of talked about that. Like, what's the purpose of? And now I did get this vibe. There are a lot of people that don't care about this. We are not talking about a groundswell of countless people out there concerned about it. There are a lot of people that are not interested in what's going on 9 time zones away. I talked to several of my Morehouse brothers at a graduation party Saturday night. So, I went to campus Saturday morning, and then Saturday night we went to a friend of ours' son's graduation party, and there were several Morehouse brothers there. Not a lot of them are concerned about this. This is not a major undertaking that many people have taken, battle cry that many have taken on. Lots of them, Democrats, dyed in the wool Democrats, hardline conservatives, and such of that nature are saying, yeah, this is not something that we need to focus on. And I've heard some of them mention things like, we need to worry about the economy. We need to worry about what's going on in the West End. We need to worry about crime. There are lots of people that are not for what's going on in the Middle East. So the children that are embracing these ideas and wanting to make them the most important thing going on, the marquee situation du jour, they're not a majority. They're not a majority. They are a small minority, very small. Now, they might be louder. They might be able to cause more havoc, so on and so forth, but they're not everybody. So I think that's going to be interesting. We'll see how it all shakes out on Sunday. Prayerfully, nothing will happen. It'll be a gigantic nothing burger, but I'll be glad that I went and celebrated my 25th college reunion. But yeah, so that would be my 2 cents on that. Good to see everyone. We Watch YouTube says I need to head on out to do my work. Blessings on you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you all the time. Everybody, We Watch YouTube is the one that does all of the ads that you see on my channel, the as the peach rots and the such like that. If you could, can you go by and check out the projects that they're doing over there? We Watch YouTube. They've been doing some great music videos. And I think you'd have a good time checking them out. Let them know Dear World Christian sent you. And I appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, let's see. Yeah, Tiffany Henyard had a police record. I got her mugshot right here, I think. Is it right here? Yeah, Tiffany Henyard had a police record. She had been breaking and entering into cars, I think it was. Yeah, I mean, so she was not a saint. Not saying that you can't turn around from, from being a criminal that you can never be involved in, but the behaviors and attitudes don't seem to have demonstrated that she's actually changed and been converted. I don't know what I did with that picture. Oh, here it is right here. Here's her mugshot. Ah, there she is. Why is it so big? Good gracious, Jason. Get this together, man. There you go. Yep, there's Tiff. That's her mugshot. It wasn't too long before she became a trustee. So I don't know how she finessed her way into that. But I mean, she had a police record. How did you finesse your way in? That's crazy. Well, breaking into cars. Yep. That's what it was. Well, that might be an option. You should shoot We Watch YouTube an email. And if you go to We Watch YouTube's page, under the About tab is their email. And I think that would be cool if they did like a little tutorial or teach you how to do edits. That'd be great. Break off a little bit of cheese, a little bit, but I think it'll be great. And I'm trying to make sure. Yeah, it's under the About page, under the About tab. Please forgive me. All right. All right. Yeah, good stuff going on tonight. So I appreciate you all of you all hanging out with me. It looks like we had about 82 of y'all watching at this moment, which is super dope. I'm glad that you all enjoy this kind of content. I appreciate you hanging out with me. I appreciate all of that because it helps me realize that, hey, this is something that people want from us. And it's well worth me staying up past my bedtime, which is a real thing. It's a real thing. What do we miss here? From mugshot to mayor. That's it. That's it. I already got the thumbnail, so when she goes back to jail, it's from mugshot to mayor to mugshot. I already got the thumbnail ready. So once the feds decide to do what they need to do and come down crashing on Tiffany Henyard, I will already have the thumbnail ready. I already got it ready. Where is it? Do I want to show it? Let me see. Do I have it? It is right here. I don't have it. It's not listed. There we go. So I'm already ready. I'm already ready for her to go to jail. So when they clamp down on her, I'm already ready. I am already ready. All right. I'm with you, Costa Chameleon. I don't support her, but I see why people do. I don't know why. Okay, you might have to explain that to me. Oh, you're in Detroit? Oh, wow. All right, Brandon, we might need to have a conversation because I'm trying to be open-minded. Why do people support? And you don't have to do it tonight. If you want to shoot me an email, we can, I'll read it, or you want to come on, we can have a conversation. That'll be fun. But why do people support Tiffany Henyard? I would love to know that. Now, I can see, okay, look, I can understand why people support Fani Willis. I don't understand why people support Tiffany Henyard. So I would definitely be open to hear. Shoot me an email, absolutely. If you want to shoot me an email, we can schedule a time, or if you just want to articulate it and put it in an email, and I can and definitely not here to dunk on you or anything like that. I don't know why people would. So I would love to hear, a cogent explanation for why you feel like people might. That meeting was a mess, a whole mess.com, a whole entire mess. But to the point that something to think about, I do think that Tiffany Henyard thrives in chaos and she wants chaos because, and I say that because that meeting, it's the same time every time that they have a meeting. Don't quote me on this, but I want to say it's 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. So they already know this meeting has always been that time. There's no reason not to have that meeting start on time. You can have people, but you didn't let people even in the building until 6:45. Didn't even start letting them in until 6:45. So they're already an hour late. So they're coming in on 10 when you let them in. And so then is the problem. So you're going to get all that pushback. You're going to get all that bravado. You're going to get all that negativity and all that kind of stuff like that. And that is why I say I feel like she thrives in chaos because it allows her to deflect because of the chaotic exposure. You'll be there filming inside. You'll have the best quality. Oh, are you talking about Morehouse's graduation? Oh, I think that's what you mean. I'm pretty sure that's what you mean, Brandon. And I thank you, man. There you go. The chaos feeds her narcissism. Right. Because then she can say, oh, the reason y'all don't like me because you're yelling at me. And that I have to meet you in kind. So that's why. And again, it's like just a narcissistic travel feedback loop. Travel. Narcissistic feedback loop. But okay, just looking at a couple of things. Looks like some good conversation going on. Looks like lots of good back and forth. I do appreciate y'all. Thank you. And again, the moderators have been rocking it coast to coast. Thank y'all so much. And I appreciate you all as the live chat doing all that you do to just make this a great conversation. Again, shout out to A Servant's Heart. Thank you so much for being the sponsor of the live chat with the $9 super chat. Thank you so very much. I do appreciate it. I'm glad that y'all find value in this. I'm glad that y'all like it. It means a lot to me. It really does. So the plan, the intention is tomorrow is Tuesday. I'm just telling y'all right now, I ask you all to send me a couple of people that you want me to collaborate with, and you all came in like a storm. I've talked to 2 people today, and prayerfully, I'm going to wait until I have it etched in stone, but we're going to have some guests on the channel very soon, Lord willing. So I don't want to run out there and start talking too quick, but hopefully we'll have some guests on the channel. And no, Frank is not Trump, but that would be dope if it was. But we're going to have some friends on the channel I think you all will enjoy. So thank you all so much. Do not hesitate. If you think that this will be a good collaboration and you have a relationship with them, send me a warm introduction. Introduce me to them and whatnot. Or just saying, hey, Jason, can you reach out to this person? I think it'll make a good person to work with. I would love to do that. But prayerfully, we'll have some good conversations soon to shed a lot of light on some of the things we've been talking about on this channel. So I'm really looking forward to that. We do need to worry about the economy. This is what Brandon says. That's why we should stop giving billions daily to a country in the Middle East. We've been paying for things denied to Americans. Poverty breeds crime. That's it. I can't even disagree with him. I can't even caveat that. Amen. Amen. Everybody put double B in the chat. We gotta give Brandon shout out. We're just gonna give him BBs. Absolutely, man. Because you hit the nail on the head. I cannot agree with you more. I cannot find a way to add to that. But it's common sense, and I don't think that we're dealing with that with this group of people. To me, I think that's the problem. Yes, very well said, Brandon. Very well said. RF Shell agrees. How great would it be to have the Scorpion Queen on? Oh, please, somebody help me out. Shout out, Scorpion Queen. Holla at your boy, Ashley Merchant. Holla at your guy. I would love to talk to y'all. We must. We must. Oh, let's make it happen. It's got to happen. Heart of a servant, it's got to. It must happen. Tiffany Henyard is like 38, and she's a trustee for like 7 years. She was extremely young in her role. That's the part that's crazy. Is she's been in this role for some time. When she was a trustee, rather, for like, don't quote me on this, like 4 or 5, maybe even longer years. Like, it's crazy that she's a trustee and has been in politics this long. Well, appreciate you, Brandon. Thank you so much for your insight. Thank you for contributing to the party. Um, Absolutely. I would love to have some guests on here. I would love to. There's some people I would love to work with, some other content creators in this law space, just to have some other voices to have an opportunity. So a lot of you probably know some of them that I've reached out to, but I'm going to keep them under wraps till it's guaranteed. And I know it's going to happen, but I'm looking forward to having some other voices on here. And again, an opportunity for you all to ask questions of persons who really know what they're talking about and not the pre-K law student. So that's going to happen sooner than later. So I really do appreciate y'all. And I'm looking forward to introducing you to some new friends. Absolutely. It looks like we got it under control this fine evening. Y'all, I thank y'all so much. I really do. Tomorrow is Tuesday. I don't have any plans for tomorrow, but just like I told y'all earlier today when I did my mic check live stream in the studio this morning, I said, hey, anything can happen. And boy, oh boy, oh boy. So as the Trump case in New York continues to trudge along, I think they had their star witness came on today. So there was a lot of, fireworks there. We got all this kind of stuff going on still with Fani. There's tons of stuff happening, stuff going on in Dalton. And please understand, there are other places besides Dalton that have Tiffany Henyard like mayors and councilwomen and the such of that nature. So there's a lot of stuff to go on in there. And so this is not the end of that story by a mile. But let me make sure I got that right. Yeah. No, she never made her cameo. I can guarantee you what she did. She finished her homework, Shara, and she took her little self upstairs. I heard somebody taking a shower, so hopefully she took her shower and got ready for bed because she was sleepy when I picked her from school today. So we'll see, but she'll show up again. Don't worry. Okay, so Brandon's right here, and he makes a great point. That's why people support Trump, and many of his supporters are afraid to say it out loud. Absolutely. I know there's tons of people. I know tons of people that are high melanated that totally get it, and they are not necessarily running around with a red hat, running around with, Trump 24 on their bumper sticker, but they will go into that box and they're going to vote for Trump. So yeah, I'm perfectly fine. You don't have to. We're not doing bumper sticker polls, so it's not a matter of how many bumper stickers he has. It's a matter of whether or not he has the people actually see his vision, and I think that's where it's going to get real interesting. So we'll see what happens. We're going to see what happens. So I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all very much for hanging out with me tonight. If you don't mind, if you could please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about it. Just kind of going over, answering, or rather reading out Jim Jordan's letters to Fani as well as to Nathan. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know where you think this case is going to go. Your thoughts, your opinions, your ideas are valued here. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you think and such like that. Susie was talking about teenagers. Raising teenagers is it's fun. Let's just say it like that, because it's never dull. It's always something going on. But I can only imagine, because I got 2 girls. I can only imagine if they were boys. Oh my gosh, it would be terrible. Because it would be God's stellar, eternal comedy that my sons would act just like me. And I'd be like, what can I do? I can't do anything, because that's what I would have done. That's what I used to do when I was 12. That's what I used to do. What can I do? So that's why I'm glad I got girls, because they act like my wife. But that's my point. Anyway, my good people, I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you again for hanging out with me. I appreciate all. Looks like 104 of y'all liked the video. Thank y'all so much. I really do appreciate it. I'm glad y'all find value in this. Please let me know down in the comments what you think about it. Let me know what your thoughts were on the whole Nathan and Fani and Jim Jordan letters. Let me know what you think about that. I will confirm with you all on Thursday if I am in fact going to graduation, but I'm 90% certain I'm going to go, even though it's going to rain. Just give me some rain boots. I'm planning on going and just being a part of what's going on there at the school. But I'll keep y'all posted on it. So until next time, my good people, Lord willing, I'll see you real soon. So take care. Have a great night. Grace and peace. Oh, gosh. I literally signed out. And then Paul comes in here with this question. What did you think about the Howard graduation mess? Oh my goodness. I was right out the door, Erna, I was out of here. I was already in my bed. I was ready to tuck my head and go to sleep. I was ready. And then Paul asked this question. Oh man. All right. I'm going to talk about it because Kiana's going to talk about it as well. I'm just going to give like a surface understanding because I was at a graduation party this weekend and there were some Howard parents there. And no, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. I didn't know how bad it was. The parent that was telling me the story, made it sound like it was just a big misunderstanding. He's like, oh yeah, it was too many people and some people couldn't get in. It was I didn't realize, but I saw some video footage of what actually happened at Howard's graduation. And I'm like, this is a whole different game, my guy. This is not what you told me at all. And shout out to Brandon. At the current moment, you're right. It is no longer going to rain on Sunday. It was going to rain, but it's raining all day, Wednesday till Friday, and then stops Sunday and Monday, and then it rains on Tuesday. So the Lord saw fit to get rid of the rain. Good call out, Brandon. Good call out. But so apparently Howard University up in D.C., they had a pretty hectic apparently, from my understanding, they had entirely too many students graduating. Most universities that have small schools in them, like, the School of Nursing or the School of Business, the School of Education, each one of those particular schools does a graduation of their own, not the entire body. And apparently, if I'm understanding this correctly, the entire body was like 4,000 students or something. It was amazing. Like it was 4,000 students graduating, but they did it in their auditorium, not the auditorium, their stadium where they do basketball, the basketball stadium. And apparently it was just a boondoggle. But from my understanding, this has always been how it's been at Howard. It just got out of hand this year, if I'm understanding it correctly. Let me, all right, I had no intention. Okay, I had no intention of doing this. Y'all, how do y'all keep doing this to dear woke Christian? How do y'all do this to me? Y'all always do this, man. Shout out, man. At least make sure you like the video. All right, let's pull this in. Or watch this together. All right, real quick. Let's just double check. Let's do a quick mic check. All right, can y'all real quick drop me a chat? Drop me a chat. Can y'all drop me a 5 in the chat if you can hear that, and then we're gonna go over this real quick. Can you real quick just let me know that you can hear it? I don't want to be tricked. So real quick. So Howard University cancels graduation mid-ceremony. Like literally the graduation was in process and they canceled it because people couldn't get in and the fire marshal said it was getting out of hand. And they're like literally, they're pounding on the door and glass starts breaking. It's crazy.
At this time, we are at capacity.
My store's going, I'm going to pass
out. I just came out of there, and I can show you the video. We are at capacity.
I could have watched the video at home.
Hey, bro, let us stand up, man. Nobody want to hear all that capacity stuff, man. People drove here for long places to come here. Ain't nobody care about no. Look, that's y'all problem.
So, most of y'all know that if a place doesn't have standing room capacity or they've already reached capacity, you can't let more people in. There's going to be a fire issue. And though I don't agree with it all the time, in this situation, it would have been a boondoggle. And it is part of the dean's problem. Our families don't know how to act for me. I mean, let's finish it up because maybe we'll pull up another one as well.
At this time, we are at capacity.
My store's going, I'm going to pass
I just came out of there, and I can show you the video. We are at capacity.
I could have watched the video at home.
Hey, bro, let us stand up, man. Nobody want to hear all that capacity stuff, man. People drove here for long places to come here. Ain't nobody care about no. Look, that's y'all problem.
All right, so that was it. There's another one I saw right before. All right, so yeah, so I don't know what to do, man. I feel bad for. I know graduations are boring. They're not the they're not the bee's knees. I understand, but I respect that people want to be a part of it, so I'm not mad at them. Okay, here is from the inside of it. So we saw the people outside saying let us in, and now this is the inside.
We've got a little bit of an emergency going on, y'all.
A celebration years in the making for these Howard University students coming to an abrupt ending Thursday as these graduates waited to walk across the stage at the Crampton Auditorium. Just outside of the lobby, dozens of loved ones locked out and some trying to push their way in after being told the building was at capacity.
Because of the size of the room and because our relatives sometimes do not know how to act, the fire department is now here to shut us down.
Administrators doing their best to let the grads get their special moment and grab their diplomas before they cleared the room, but the damage was done.
Like while they were doing the keynote speaker, there was like loud banging. Even before that, for like 10 minutes straight, just like boom, 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 boom.
After this commotion, pictures showed the broken glass door left behind.
It's sad right now, low-key.
Oh, yeah.
It's sad.
I'm just heartbroken.
And dreams shattered for grads like Holly Ragunanan and her family, looking to make up for moments missed during the pandemic.
Glass started getting broken. One of my classmates' hands got cut. I didn't even get to walk. I graduated magna cum laude and I didn't even get to walk. I'm class 2020. I didn't get to walk for my high school graduation. I didn't get to walk for my college graduation.
It's not just a grad.
That's the part that's sad. I'm sorry. That's the part that kind of gets Dear World Christian in the feels. This is the COVID class. So the COVID class they got shanghaied in high school, and now they're potentially getting shanghaied in college. That's what I'm saying. And this had nothing to even do with the whole Middle Eastern thing. So this is just people not being able to deal with setbacks, which is crazy. But let's finish up. Wait, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Now, okay, I did see this part here. The fire department said it wasn't them that shut it down, but the guy standing there saying that at capacity had a fireman's hat on, had a baseball cap on. It looked like it was maybe I was tripping, but it looked like the logo. But I mean, maybe they didn't. Yeah, these are high school class of 2020 kids too. They didn't get to walk on either. It's a rite of passage. It's an earned event, and it's been denied to them twice. That's wild. Okay, let's go. Let's get done.
Who left the canceled commencement disappointed.
All the money we spent, my father and grandmother came down from North Carolina.
And while these grads try to salvage the celebration, not long after, DC Fire sang in a statement. DC Fire and EMS did not shut down tonight's event. At 6:42 p.m., we responded to the Crampton Auditorium for a medical call at the request of campus police. The patient was evaluated and refused transport, and DC Fire and EMS departed.
I'm confused why it got so crazy, how it got so quick, so bad, so fast.
And some of these graduates will get to walk this weekend. The university's main commencement ceremony is set for Saturday morning. At Howard University, Walter Morris, News 4.
Now,
So, and I did hear this. Somebody did mention this to me as well. That was a School of Nursing graduation. That was not so the School of Nursing will still get to graduate with the School of Business and School of Education, so on and so forth. So, they're still going to be able to walk again this weekend. So I don't think it's a wrap that it's been a total bust for them, but that's just me. Yeah, and there you go. You're right, Apex, and I was wrong. Sorry about that. I have no idea then who that man was though. So no, good catch. All right, let's get done with this.
Moments ago, Howard University responded to our request for a statement. The school said security removed someone from the building prior to the ceremony. That person returned and broke a window. The statement goes on to say this incident led to a disturbance among guests outside the facility, resulting in a disruption of the program. Guests in attendance were immediately dispersed following this incident. Howard says EMS treated one student for a cut. The school plans to give individual awards to students tomorrow.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know if that's what we saw. I mean, I might be wrong, but I don't have a dog in the race, but it looked like it was a little bit more than that, but they did ruin it for those kids. They absolutely did. Makes me mad at these kind of nonsense from the families. I agree. I mean, I hate it too, but surely the administration should do something different. No question there. They should handle it a little bit differently. But rowdy nurses, right? But that behavior isn't excused because of you just don't like what's going on. Like, to me, I think that's a problem-solving opportunity to learn how to solve problems and not cause chaos. But yeah, that's it. So I'm gonna leave the rest for Kiana. I saw that the moderators did drop Kiana's link to her channel, Q's Corner, in the chat. So we want to make sure we check out when she does her review. I think don't quote me on that. It's gonna be this week. And so I think it'd be cool for us to make sure we check her out and support her as not only a moderator of the channel, but a fantastic content creator that's trying to do some good things. So I think that'd be a good conversation to have. So it's Rowdy at Howard, but that was a good one. Thank you so much. Now, with no further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm going to bed. I want to thank y'all so much for hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate all of you all, the 110 of you all that liked this video. I appreciate all of you all that's been hanging out with me from the beginning, or you jumped in the middle, wherever you got in. I really do appreciate it. Again, thank you so much to those who are supporting the channel with the super chats and all that kind of stuff. Thank you to all of the new subscribers, to all of the new members. of the channel. I appreciate you all. There'll be some new content dropping for you all as well. Maybe you'll know who I'm going to be having on the channel sooner before everybody else. I don't know. Become a member of the channel. That's what happens. Maybe you'll get to see Taylor working behind the booth. I did a short of Taylor working behind the booth yesterday. The other day. That was fun. But I want to say again, thank each and every one of you all for not only liking, not only subscribing, becoming a member, but for commenting and just showing a lot of support. I really do appreciate it. My goal for this month of May was to hit 500,000 views on total for the month, and I'm well on the way. And I appreciate y'all because you all watch the videos, you like the videos, you comment, all that kind of stuff like that. It does help. So I really do appreciate it. Just wanted to hit a goal of 500,000. I've never hit 500,000 views yet, but I'm hoping to do so this month, and you all the ones that do it. So thank you all so much. I appreciate you all. God bless you, and we will see you real soon. Until then, everybody, grace and peace.